green morning, green afternoon, green evening. We pray to Almighty and we hope that you're taking care of your health, your wellness, your family, your neighbors, your society, your community, your civilization, and all the people those are in touch with you. You're taking care of everybody at your end. Please take care of yourself. You still do a service. Today we are going to talk about service industry. You still do a great service to humanity if you don't fall sick, and if you do not ask for a bed, if you do not ask for medicine, if you do not ask for somebody attending you, taking care of you, the entire family running around, everybody going around. So that's a great service to the humanity. Thereby we would make a humble appeal to all of you. Please take care of your health. Today is a very, very important subject because we are going to start something very new. At present, almost 4 crore Indians, 4 crore Indians, when I talk about, that means I'm talking about my brothers and sisters, tourism, hospitality, aviation sector, particularly travel agents, tour operator, tourist transporter, anybody whosoever was directly or indirectly, they have been so badly impacted. And if any industry which got the maximum blow during this COVID, that's travel, tourism, and with that related hospitality, and with that related aviation. And of course, you have got a frills of other industries like events and MICE industry and retail and shopping and whatsoever you can think of on this planet. We extend a very warm welcome this morning, this afternoon, this evening. We have been joined by a very distinguished our so-called Indian brother from the soil of United States, Dr. Satyanarayana Parayitam ji. He's very kind. He had given the complete roadmap earlier on the research, how the research to be carried out, what are the parameters, what exactly to be done in research, and how can you make your research really human oriented, society oriented, futuristic, usable, and people can get benefit of that instead of just doing a local kind of a thing which doesn't hold the relevance. And he gave very categorically that quite a few people are doing research for the sake of getting PhD. That's not the human service. So when we are talking about service industry, today are going to be focused our new education policy 2020. What are the research opportunities in service industry? Because in the new education policy 2020, the great emphasis has been given to research part. The government is very serious about it. People are very serious about it. And at the same time, a sizable budget is being allocated for this. Now let's talk about what kind of a research, what exactly is required. And today I'll be focusing on one of the industry, that's our travel and tourism segment. How exactly is going to be the scenario post-COVID-19 and how the world would look like, what lessons we should learn, and what kind of a research we can undertake. Of course, final advice we would be taking from Professor Dr. Satyanarayana ji, who is a professor for strategic management at the Charlton College of Business, University of Massachusetts in United States. We extend him a very warm welcome. And of course, Professor Vivekshankar Natarajan ji, who is a part of our organization, and he's the one who assembles everything. And he took up with Professor Dr. Satyanarayana ji, and he had been very, very kind to give his blessings, guidance, and patronage to our research part. How do we proceed and what exactly we should do? Ladies and gentlemen, our chamber, deeply associated with the Indian diaspora, and every week we share with you that now it is 31.4 million Indians. Those are abroad in different countries. Those have gone to different places. Now, rejuvenating tourism post-COVID-19 is the case study and the case what we are presenting today to our distinguished guests, and we will share the vision. Of course, tourism statistics just before this COVID had hit India, and there was almost approximately 11 million foreign visitors. And when you talk about NRIs, About 5 million, they travel to India from different parts of the world. Domestic tourism, sizable population. When you talk about 1.8 billion, that means more than the population of the country. That means during the year, people travel 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, depending on who travel to which particular state, neighboring state, other places and all that. It may be for different purposes. It may not be for holiday and leisure alone. It may be business tourism. It may be official tourism. It may be some assignment which you have got and you have gone for that, and you packed your tourism holidays with that, like it will happen post-COVID here also. Outbound tourism was more than the inbound tourism to India. That's about 26 million. And of course, tourism contributes more than 9% to India's GDP. Now, when I look at this slide, my heart bleeds because very badly. Can you imagine that 53,000 travel agents and almost 1,15,000 tour operators, 15,000 adventure tourism companies, 9,11,000 tourist transporters, 53,000 big hospitality corporate houses, 5 lakh big restaurants, and of course, there are a couple of other ancillaries which are directly or indirectly linked with tourism industry. They have been impacted and affected. And when I talk about it, almost 4 crore people, that is, I'm talking about the official figures, but there may be many other people, those are not registered with the government. They are not a registered travel agent and tour operator. They are small excursionists, but they are promoting. When I look at Indian tourism, what exactly the potential country has got, and when I look at India's tourist map, each state is a continent in itself. Each state is a country in itself. Each state has got something altogether different. When you talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the cultural part of India, the heritage part of India, when I talk about pilgrimage part of India, when I talk about the cuisine, the different cuisine, art, craft, culture, when I talk about the music, the dances, the folk, and everything when we talk about it, imagine the variety which this country offers, the bonanza which it gives throughout the dances. Can you imagine what all is available? What a colorful this particular country is. What is an amalgamation? The dances, when we talk about it, wonderful. When you talk about textiles, when you talk about fabric, when you talk about costumes, when you talk about different whatsoever, the colorful, the style, the fabric, and imagine the handicraft that goes hand in hand. When you talk about tourism, everybody wants to take some souvenir when they visit India. They would like to take it from here. When you talk about craft, it's imaginable what this country is. Local art and craft, local cuisine, local dances, local music. And post-pandemic, what's exactly going to be the tourism scenario? Our chamber has done a lot of research in the last 15 months. We would like to share, and there's something very important to offer to the entire humanity. The pandemic has taught at least one thing, a very hard way to all of us. We got to become more cautious. We got to be more conscious. We got to look after the personal hygiene, cleanliness, neatness, and at the same time, we got to live with the nature in harmony. If we do not respect nature, because people had started thinking, I do not want to discuss in detail today, but if you watch one of the programs of Cut the Clutter, and particularly the print of Shri Shekhar Gupta ji, I hold him in a great esteem values. He's a journalist who has done total dedication to his entire life. I come from the armed forces background. I've seen his interest in armed forces, arms, ammunition, what exactly happens, tactics, strategies, ambush, couple of things he talks about. And he does a lot of homework when he comes. Every day in the evening, you can see him around 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And there's a special program which he brings. One of the program which he has done, you got to understand, where he told some of the scientists have got together and they are working on to it. And somewhere, some interviews he has quoted, I haven't gone into the detail completely onto that. I just watched it casually, but there he makes a mention that maybe some of the people were trying to overpower nature, and by mistake or whatsoever has happened, and whatsoever has happened to the entire universe, that you got to watch his program. It was 3 or 4 days or 5 days back. That was Shekhar Gupta. You will come to know what exactly happened and how the world is facing this particular, the crisis at this point of time. And there he's talking about scientists. He's talking about a couple of people. So ladies and gentlemen, we are setting up the new world order for all of you, and what we have done the research, what we have done, and here we give the prediction, we give the packaging, what exactly do we feel, but still we are planning to have some more research. It's a macro part. Micro part, we will go with Professor Satyanarayana ji, and we will work on to that. Hope you all are taking care of yourself, because tourism can take place only when the world is at peace. Tourism is a peace activity. Tourism is a holiday activity. Tourism is a dream merchant. And tourism is something, because if you give a free ticket to someone and you tell, I'm giving you a business class ticket and you travel to such and such place, the only thing is few people are dying because of some disease, and there are some terrorists, those are moving around over there. Would you like to go to that place? That's not possible. So ladies and gentlemen, tourism is for peace. And when we talk about it, the perspective which we want to give to all of you is, we will be covering up all these chapters separately with you, but just we are summing up over here. We are giving brief because of the paucity of time, but I would like to share with all of you, there will be a rise in domestic tourism. The road trips will become more popular than the other modes of travel. People would not prefer to travel by air. People would not prefer to travel by train. People would not like to travel with buses and others. They would like to have their own transportation, whether a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. They would pick up their family, because at least they know that we all are not infected or impacted by the COVID, and nobody is, the COVID positive in the family, and everybody is taken care of. Another thing, you would not like to go to far-flung places. You would like to go to nearby places. You would travel to the places which are near your place of residence, your permanent residence or temporary residence, whatsoever is there, and nature-based, wildlife, nature-based, that is ecotourism, nature tourism, wildlife tourism, biosphere tourism, tiger reserve tourism, bird sanctuary tourism, and maybe you would just like to melt and you would like to go to the places which are more in isolation and nature oriented, where your family, you know that 4 of you are staying some hut, you're staying at some place where you don't have too much of public, you don't have too much of disturbance. And at the same time, there'll be conscious tourism. You will be very careful. What are you doing? What activities are taking place? What food are you eating? Are you doing some exercise or not? Whether a yoga or a meditation or a naturopathy, no negative music, positive music, like Dr. Professor Satyanarayana ji. When he plays a mouth organ, he is a wonderful, I watch his videos. When I saw that, I was mesmerized, and I thought, I met him two, three seminars, webinars before. Why I didn't know about it? He is excellent, and any person, ladies and gentlemen, who enjoys music, whether instrumental or vocal or whatsoever, you are the most peace-loving person and you want to live with nature, because anybody who enjoys music, I can vouch for it. There's a scientific study. You are a positive person and you would not like to harm anybody. Then at the same time, let's look at Netherlands. Let's look at Holland. Whenever I travel to Dutch people, every evening I used to wonder. In the morning, I used to wonder, they were on bicycles. In the evening, you will see only the lights on the bicycles and they are traveling. So, bicycle vacation, nature walks, hiking, trekking, and eco trails will become more important in the times to come. At the same time, There'll also be a new trend in tourism that is going to be, at present, everybody is working from home. Even if it is a blended working, you might be going to office for 1 day or 2 days in a week, but 5 days you're operating from home. And most of the companies have realized that your output is more, accountability is more, you are also happy, your family is also happy, and at the same time, you're comfortable to work and you're giving output. So what would happen? The vacation and tourism will be blended with your work also. That means you'll be carrying your laptop, you'll be carrying your data card, you'll be having your digital frequency, and you will go to a place where you can work also, your family also, your holidays also, your tourism also. That is also going to be the future, what we have to think of. Again, when we think about service providers, service facilitators, I do not know. Whatever has happened in the past, it's fine. But I would like to request, why do you call travel agent? Do not call agent. Why do you call insurance agent? Don't call. Why don't you call them facilitators? Why do you call tourist guide? Why don't you call tourism facilitation executive? Like in English language, you say, I am tired. Oh my God. But if you say, I am pleasantly tired, it sounds so good. You got to just repackage the words. Don't use the word travel agent, travel facilitators. If we use that particular word, you would enjoy it more. So from service providers, facilitators' point of view, airlines, hospitality, travel trade, and other ancillaries, when we talk about travel insurance, will become the essential component of travel and tourism. And let me share with all of you, if you have been vaccinated, it's fine. If you have not been vaccinated, kindly get yourself vaccinated at the earliest. Because wherever you will travel, you got to carry the screenshot that you have been vaccinated, or at the same time you have taken the test. If I am traveling to place A or place B today, also within the states in India, like tomorrow morning, if I have to travel to somebody or some place, some other neighboring state, within 24 hours, I have to get my COVID test done. And that has to be a fresh test if I want to travel hassle-free. Now, imagine insurance would be very, very important in future. Everybody got to be taking care of it. Now, new strategies and innovation for tourism marketing in digital manner. That is going to be something very important. Everything is going to be transparent, more transparent, credibility and trust. Transparency, credibility, and trust. These three key words are going to be most important in your innovative marketing strategies, ladies and gentlemen. Now with the COVID-19, you've got to keep it in mind that tourist health and wellness and digitalized way. Nobody would like that if I go to a hotel, I should go to front office, I should check in, I should put my signature, I should give my credit card. No, the QR code would be there. You just go to your room, open it yourself, stay over there, come back, settle your bill. All that has to be less of the human interaction. No buffets in the morning where the crowd used to be there and everybody in a queue and you're talking to the people. Where do you come from? Wow, it's a pleasure to meet you, eat you. And now it's going to be treat you altogether different way. You will place on your order. Your breakfast would be placed outside your room. It will be in the different layers. You've got to unpack your everything. Inside you take. Still you would be conscious that before eating apple, let me wash 3 times before I eat. Personal hygiene, personal care, and of course, these 3 words are very important. Everybody got to be transparent. Your credibility would speak, and you got to win the trust of your customer. Tourism is trust. Hospitality is trust. In airlines, when you travel, it's a trust because you're traveling and the captain is holding the key for your life. And that is the way it's a trust. So air travel and hospitality will be technology driven. Airports will be less crowded. Hotels will be less crowded. Restaurants will be less crowded. There'll be new norms which will come. There'll be different modes which we have to think of. and everything is going to cost more and more, because when the technology will seep in, earlier, let's take it, if 6 people were dining together across one table and now only 4 people will sit, naturally it's going to cost that restaurant more than what it used to cost earlier. Then hygiene and safety, it's going to be so important, because every day, entire hotel, entire restaurant, all the aircraft, all the airports, every tourist vehicle, everything has to be sanitized in a way, because everybody would be conscious. Hygiene and safety is going to be very, very important. Mindfulness and tourism professional training. Tourism professional needs to be reskilled, upskilled, digitally skilled, eco-skilled, and socially and emotionally and empathetically skilled now to deal with the guest with more empathy and in a more psychological manner in future. Tourism is going to have all new norms. And let me share with responsibility, I'm making this statement to all of you today. Nobody today in the world knows whether the third wave is coming, whether the fourth wave is coming, when the third wave is going to hit, whom all you're going to hit. These are all prediction and assumptions. Nobody knows exactly what exactly will be the order of the world. But ladies and gentlemen, human being faced First World War, Second World War, Spanish flu, many other difficulties. We'll overcome this also. I do not want to be sounding negative. I am positive, but I'm conscious when I talk about it, what exactly is going to happen in future. Another thing, very important. Now there is not going to be PPP, public-private partnership. The fourth part, P4, is going to be there. Public-private people partnership. Because the local people, the local communities also got to be ready to receive those domestic tourists. If I'm staying in one particular mohalla, in one particular area, I would be very keen to know who are the people those are coming to my area, where are they coming from, what is their background. I hope nobody is COVID positive out of them. I hope nobody has got any problem on that. So thereby, ladies and gentlemen, the P4 concept, that's going to be very important, because how would you engage with the local communities? And what is going to be the new human approach towards tourism? Okay, now coming linkage with other industries, media industry, local cultural industry, local craft industry, micro, small, and the medium enterprise. When I talk about, when there will be an increase in domestic tourism, we got to be thinking of what is going to be the repackaging. I would like to make a request to entire Bollywood, as well as Tollywood, as well as Bollywood. When I talk about Bollywood, I'm talking Mumbai. When I talk about Tollywood, I'm talking about Tamil Nadu. And when I'm talking about Bollywood, I'm talking about Punjab. May I request all the associations and all the big corporate houses and all the production houses, can you do some service? And at the same time, Government of India and state governments, they all have to think that production houses for the film should not move out of India. Rather, they should travel within India, promoting domestic tourism, doing the film shoots in different states within India, depending on what is the story, what is the location, and let state government give some subsidies. Let state government give some incentives. Let state government do the hand holding for cinematic tourism. The new word I would like to give you, cinematic tourism, because I remember how New Zealand tourism got promoted, how South Korea promoted its cinematic tourism, how Singapore shot one Hindi film, Bollywood Krish, and Singapore Tourism Promotion Board paid the money for that. And that money, that one film, it brought, do you know what? 13% tourist traffic to Singapore from India. Because a lot of my brothers and sisters from Tamil Nadu, they are in Singapore, Mustafa Market. When I go, they are in Malaysia also, they are in Singapore also, they are in other countries. But when I talk about these two countries, I met large population of Tamilians to whom I met over there, and I was discussing and talking to all of them, and they're doing great service. And if you recall, few days back, you had the education minister in Singapore from Tamil Nadu background. That is the great ancestors, they might have migrated over there and they moved in. Similar way, in the other Southeast Asian countries also, if you see, if you go to Mauritius, you'll find 60% population is migrated from Bihar. So similar way, you got to see a lot of other things. Then comes next, organic cultivation, healthy food. It is very important, which we all have to understand. When I talk about organic cultivation and when I talk about healthy food, it's very important, ladies and gentlemen. We got to grow our own green vegetables. We got to have nutritious food. We got to have all the items which are locally grown, hygienically grown, without pesticides grown. It is more organic in nature. So rural tourism, Ayurveda, herbal medicines, yoga, wellness, and all that kind of a physical fitness, mental fitness, environmental wellness, social wellness, spiritual wellness, all that will be blended together with the herbal plantation, cultivation. Like small examples I would like to give you: turmeric, ginger, garlic, galoy, aloe vera, neem, and people. These are some of the plants. They are going to be in a great demand post-pandemic. When you talk about, they are in demand now also, but they are going to be in great demand post-pandemic because everybody would be worried about their mental, physical, and environmental wellness. Do you know there is a very interesting story? There's a 68% old person, young I would call, not old, I shouldn't call it old, 68-year-old person. You know what is he doing? He is next to Indore in one of the villages. He takes his breakfast. He has put the ladder. He climbs that ladder. Right in the middle of the tree, he has put a chair which is tied up with the rassis and ropes and strings. And he sits whole day over there. He either watches the WhatsApp or he watches the YouTube or he reads some book, because he sits on the peepal tree which gives 24-hour oxygen. And his oxygen level at the age of 68 is 99. That is the kind of an examples you have to take. You got to live with the nature. There's another gentleman in UK. I'm looking forward to his contact number. If I get him, I met him in the United Nations and UN program. His name is, if I correctly remember, Satish Kumarji. He's an NRI who is in UK and he is 84 years old. And he says, the day humanity starts living with nature, half the problem in the world will get over. He's 84 years old. Now coming yoga, pranayam, meditation, all that is going to be very, very important for all of us. Now, when I move further, ladies and gentlemen, education establishment and the skill providers, they got to change their syllabi. You cannot teach what you were teaching before COVID, before this pandemic. You got to bring a complete curriculum change in that. And educational institute to teach relevant, futuristic, what all is needed in terms of academic skills and whatsoever is to be imparted digital way. Radio, television, mobile phones, all that is going to play a very important role. Now, if as a travel facilitator, you are not updated with the latest, what exactly is the technical know-how, nobody will come to you for taking any package or any kind of a program. You got to update every minute yourself. And another thing, you got to develop the positive mindset among students and teachers, because the greatest challenge is now employment. There is going to be great challenge. Children, those have passed last year in the hospitality industry, and those have passed up, those are passing out this year from this industry. You got to diversify. You got to think for some different ventures, what all can be done. And of course, public-private partnership would require a new kind of a mode of working by all of us. Overall, the key growth pattern for the tourism post-pandemic is going to be technology, sustainability, health, safety, hygiene, private trips, indigenous culture, and B2B is no more business to business. It is back to basics of life, back to nature, and back to basic organic food. And there is going to be a more consciousness and more wellness. Sector Skill Council wellness, along with another sector skill councils, are going to play a very important role. If you remember, the World Economic Forum also gave the predictions earlier, the sustainability and the rebuilding, the tourism scenario when you talk about. So domestic tourism, when we are talking about, you got to value that post-COVID. Now people would like to travel and stay with a family at places like these, which were less visited earlier. Those are in isolation. Those are with the greenery. Those are with the nature. And these places are the one, those are far away from the maddening crowd where you have got more and more population. Okay, so that part is very important. I'm very happy that I'm getting lots of comments. Noi Nyodu ma'am has just posted, we need to encourage self-employment in the Northeast. Sakshi, Pankaj Tripathi, and then of course Rahul Bodo, and then we have got Julie ma'am, we have got Rakesh ji, we have got Vimal Chauhan, we have got Nisha Agrawal ji, we have got Pooja Makin, we have got Info students, we have got Saurabh, we have got Nishank Maurya ji, we have got Balkrishan ji, we have got yes, Pankaj Tripathi ji, we have got Nan Lai ji, and we have got Bibi Subha ji, and Rahul Budo, yes. Then of course we have got Rakesh, Mamta, Sakshi, Rakesh, Mamta, S. Vosa, and then we have got Saurabh, and then of course we have got Ishita Shukla, and then we have got Arshdeep, then we have got Sakshi, Dr. T. Venkata Ramanaji, hearty welcome, pleasure. Then we have got Arshdeep ji, and then we have got, let's take it, Ria Rana ji, and then of course we have got Dilshan Wafa ji, then we have got Aryan Bisht ji, and then we have got Ria, your name I have mentioned, Manisha Chaturvedi ji, and then we have got Jobalakshmi Kshamitya, and then we have got Mamta, Nanlai, Vimal Chauhan, Rubo, Rakesh, then Balkishan, Krishna Kumar ji, Dr. R. Krishna Kumar, great. And then of course we have got Dr. Rajesh ji, and then we have got Pankaj Tripathi ji, Ria Rana ji. Oh, that's great. Dr. Mehboob Basha ji, Mehboob Basha, great. Hearty welcome to you. Julie ma'am, of course, you are there from Manipur. Then I've got, I'm just trying so that, yes, keep posting your name. I'll keep announcing because I wish to have more and more friends. Then we have got Karthik Shan. Karthik Shan has also joined. Great. Pleasure to have you also. Great. Welcome. Hearty welcome. So, ये जो छोटी-छोटी जगहें हैं, यहाँ पर लोग travel करना चाहेंगे. People would like to travel to the places, भैया, जहाँ अपनी स्कूटर उठाओ, मोटरसाइकिल उठाओ, अपनी कार उठाओ और जाके किसी झोंपड़ी में, दूर जगह में, जहाँ पर डिस्टरबेंस ना हो और परमात्मा को ये कहो, ये तेरी बनाई हुई दुनिया है, हम तो यहाँ टेम्परेरी सफर में हैं और अच्छे से रहेंगे, आगे से डिस्टर्ब नहीं करेंगे, भाई हमें आराम से रहने लेने दो, जितने दिन तुमने रखना है. अब आप देखिए, मैं आज कंपेयर कर रहा हूं, शोकेसिंग द लोकल फॉर द ग्लोबल. कैसे है? आप स्कॉटलैंड जाते थे पहले, अब शिलोंग आ जाइए, दोनों में कोई फर्क नहीं है, दोनों जगहें बड़ी प्यारी हैं. उसके बाद आप पहले आइसलैंड जाते थे, अब आप सिक्किम आ जाओ, दोनों में कोई फर्क नहीं है, पहाड़ एक जैसे हैं. शोकेसिंग लोकल की बात कर रहा हूं. उसके बाद पहले आप न्यूजीलैंड जाते थे, अब आप नागालैंड आ जाओ. अगर दोनों में कोई फर्क हो तो मुझे बताओ. अरे भाई प्रेज करो, भारत के पास बहुत कुछ है. पहले आप जापान जाते थे, ये देखिए अब शिलोंग आ जाओ और बहुत सारे बढ़िया ओ मेरे शाहे खुबा, ओ मेरी जाने जनाना, तुम मेरे पास होते हो तो कोई दूसरा नहीं होता। लव इन टोक्यो याद होगा आपको। पहले आप थार डेजर्ट जाते थे, अब सहारा डेजर्ट की बातचीत कर रहे हैं, तो सहारा और से वहां पे थार में आ जाओ। चलिए और आगे चलते हैं। पहले अमेज़न आते थे, अमेज़न के फॉरेस्ट में जाना चाहते थे, अब आप भारत के वेस्टर्न घाट में आ जाओ। क्या बढ़िया जगह है, आप आकर तो देखो। पहले आप एम्स्टर्डम जाते थे, अब आप श्रीनगर जा जाओ और देखो क्या बढ़िया है। अगर कोई बताए कि दोनों के फूलों में कोई फर्क है, कोई फर्क नहीं है, वही पेड़ पौधे हैं, सब कुछ वैसा ही है। चलिए कोई बात नहीं। पहले आप स्विट्जरलैंड जाते थे, तो भैया आप गुलमर्ग आ जाओ। आप जरा आकर देखो तो सही, आकर तो देखो मेरे भारत के हिंदुस्तान में कितना कुछ है। पहले आप मलेशिया जाते थे, अब केरला आ जाओ। अब दोनों के अंदर अगर आप मुझे कोई भी डिफरेंस कहीं भी बता सको, अब देखो दोनों एक जैसे हैं। और एक वो बड़ी अच्छी मूवी आई थी, अगर आपको याद हो, केरला में शूट हुई थी, मुझे मूवी का याद नहीं है, जिसमें शाहरुख खान और वो क्या नाम है उनका, जो टेनिस प्लेयर है, हीरोइन रणवीर सिंह की वाइफ। तो पहले आप देखिए, पहले आप पोलिनेशिया जाते थे, अब आप लक्षद्वीप आ जाओ। उसी तरीके से अब आप ये देखिए, मृत्युंजय पांडे जी भी जुड़ गए हैं हमारे साथ। मृत्युंजय पांडे जी बहुत अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं। ये भारत सरकार का जो सेंसस का प्रोग्राम हो रहा है, उसमें बहुत बड़ा योगदान है इनका। उसी तरीके से थोड़ा आगे आ जाते हैं, तो देखिए टूरिस्ट जो है वो अवॉइड करेंगे जहां पर बहुत सारे लोग घुसे होंगे, वो उन जगहों पर जाना चाहेंगे जहां कम लोग होंगे। ये देखिए, ये सज्जन भी अपने परिवार के साथ यहाँ एंजॉय कर रहे हैं, और ये मैडम भी देखिए सुबह सुबह पहाड़ियों में योगा कर रही हैं और फर्स्ट क्लास आवाज देके बुला रही हैं अपने पति को, अपने बॉयफ्रेंड को, और ये सब चीज यहाँ पर हो रही है, सब कुछ अच्छे से है। तो ये सोलो ट्रैवल फ्यूचर में आने वाली है। गुरिंदर जी, ग्रेट सेशन, थैंक यू राकेश जी, थैंक यू साक्षी, एंड थैंक यू जोबा लक्ष्मी जी, वेरी गुड। राहुल, थैंक यू, कीप पोस्टिंग। नेचर और नेचर टूरिज्म जो है वो फ्यूचर है। आप देखिए ना, सूर्य किसी से कुछ नहीं मांगता। अभी थोड़े दिन पहले आपको एक केस का पता लगा होगा, इटली के अंदर एक वृद्ध पुरुष थे और वो अपने ट्रीटमेंट के लिए आए हॉस्पिटल में, और उनका इलाज हुआ, उनको वेंटिलेटर पे रखा गया, और 3-4 दिन के बाद वो ठीक हो गए। जब घर जाने लगे तो डॉक्टरों ने उसको बिल दिया, और जब बिल उनको दिखाया तो वो उनकी आंखों से आंसू, रोने लगे। तो सारे डॉक्टरों ने आपस में बातचीत की कि शायद इनके पास पैसे नहीं है। थैंक यू वेरी मच महेंद्रन, वसंती महेंद्रन, नीलगिरीज is a good place like Switzerland for Tamilians. Yes, thank you. जिसको जो जगह अच्छी लगती है लिखो, पोस्ट करो YouTube के अंदर। आप अरुणाचल के लोग भी लिखो, न्योदू मैम, हाबुंग आशा मैम, और रिंगू मामा मैम, और जितने लोग अरुणाचल से वॉच कर रहे हैं मुझे लिखिए इसके अंदर और बताइए कौन कौन सी अच्छी जगहें हैं। उसी तरीके से आप मुझे बाकी जगहों का, जूली मैम आप अपना मणिपुर का मुझे बताइए कि क्या है, वो सब चीजों का बताइए। डोमेस्टिक टूरिज्म को प्रमोट करना है। अब तो मैं उस कहानी पे वापस आता हूँ, उस वाक्य के ऊपर, उस किस्से के ऊपर। तो जब वहां पर उस ओल्ड मैन से बातचीत हुई और डॉक्टरों ने बातचीत की, तो उन्होंने कहा, आपस में डॉक्टरों ने बातचीत करके उनको कहा कि सर आप रोइए मत, प्लीज आप मत रोइए, आप पैसे मत दीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, हमें पैसे नहीं चाहिए, आपके पास पैसे नहीं है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप घर जाइए, ठीक से आप अच्छे से हो गए, हम चाहते हैं कि आप अपने घर जाएं। तो वो कहता, मैं इसलिए नहीं रो रहा कि मैं आपको पैसे नहीं दे सकता, मैं इसलिए रो रहा हूं कि जब से मैं पैदा हुआ और आज तक इतना बड़ा हुआ, मैंने कभी ध्यान ही नहीं दिया कि परमात्मा ने मुझे फ्री ऑक्सीजन दी हुई है, मुझे फ्री सूर्य की धूप दी हुई है, मुझे फ्री में ये जंगल, ये पेड़, ये पौधे, ये पक्षी, ये जानवर, और ये सब कुछ मेरे आसपास है। ये मेरी प्रकृति ने मुझे इतना कुछ दिया है। ये सारी चीजों की जब उन्होंने बातचीत की, तो उसने कहा, आई डोंट माइंड पेइंग फॉर माई स्टे ओवर हियर, बट आई एम फीलिंग बैड कि मैंने उस परमात्मा को, उस नेचर को कभी ध्यान ही नहीं दिया। व्हाट ऑल गॉड हैज गिवन टू अस फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, वी डोंट वैल्यू दैट। सो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, start respecting nature, natural tourism, nature tourism, green tourism, eco tourism, flora and fauna tourism, and nature based tourism Prakritic tourism with your yoga, meditation, naturopathy, solitude, music, happiness, wellness, global happiness, वो सब चीजें आने वाली हैं। ये देखिए, अगर मैं यहाँ पर देखता हूँ जो हेल्थ फॉर्म्स बनेंगे, और यो हेल्थ फॉर्म बने हुए हैं, जिनके पास 10-12 कॉटेजेस हैं और जिनके पास हॉट स्प्रिंग्स हैं, मुझे शायद प्रोनाउंसिएशन ठीक से ना आए, मैं तमिलनाडु जब भी जाता हूँ और बाय रोड ट्रैवल करता हूँ, तो रास्ते में एक जगह आती है, उसका शायद नाम है कुर्टियालम, और कुर्टियालम का एक वाटरफॉल है, ऊपर से पानी आता है मिनरल का, और वहां पर नीचे ऑयल का बॉटल मिलता है 10 रुपीज 15 रुपीज का। तो पूरी बॉडी के ऊपर ऑयल लगा के आप उस वाटरफॉल के नीचे खड़े होते हो, वो मिनरल वाटरफॉल है, एंड व्हेन यू स्टैंड ओवर देयर, आफ्टर 15 मिनट्स you get a feeling you are just 10 years old. That is the power of water. That is the power of mineral. That is the power of nature. Future is going to be all together. We got to respect nature. We got to live with nature. We got to enjoy nature. Thank you, Balkishan ji. Thank you, Rakesh ji. Thank you, Sakshi ji. Thank you, Rahul Budho ji. I appreciate your postings. Thank you. Sailing, walking, hiking, trekking, all that is going to get a boost. It's going to be a simple tourism, simple pleasure. It's going to be altogether a different holidays. Airlines, if Corona gets over now, airlines will take at least 3 to 4 years to revive and regenerate. People will have a psycho fear. लोग किसी के साथ बस में बैठेंगे तो डरेंगे, किसी के साथ ट्रेन में बैठेंगे तो डरेंगे, किसी और के साथ ट्रैवल करेंगे तो डरेंगे। इमेजिन जहां पर एक एयर टाइट कंपार्टमेंट में 35,000 फीट की ऊंचाई पे, when there is a air pressure being maintained and you all are consuming the same air within that aircraft, it will take a lot of time to get world. When will it get back to the back to what it was in January 2020, we do not know. Nobody knows about it. Road trips, they will find greater favor. हमको हमारा जो सड़कों का टूरिज्म है, जो रोड का टूरिज्म है, अपना स्कूटर, अपनी मोटरसाइकिल, अपनी कार, अपनी बाइसिकल, और अगर आपकी बाइसिकल में मोटर लगी हो छोटी सी, तो वो भी एक टूरिज्म है जो फ्यूचर में बहुत आगे चलेगा. If anybody is working on that, that is also a great venture which you can think of, you can plan. ये देखिए, family है, people would prefer to travel by their own vehicle over a short distance. लोग दूर नहीं जाना चाहेंगे, नजदीक अपने आसपास की जो जगह है, there they would like to travel. Walking and cycling, उसके clubs बन जाएंगे and they will become more prominent. Before anything happens, all the people, those are in tourism, start making the clubs in a different way, which is the futuristic tourism. Homestays will get a big boost in future. People would prefer to travel to these places. People would like to. Thank you, Mamta ji. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, Balkishan ji. Thank you, Saurabh. And thank you, Vasanthi Mahendran. Thank you very much. What is that? In Nilgiris, okay. Then comes, ladies and gentlemen, Saurabh, thank you. Rakeshi, thank you. So homestays will get a big boost. We all got to understand that is something very important which we got to take on. It's going to be a different world altogether. Positioning the domestic host community at the flagship of the tourist expenditure. जो गांव का, पंचायत का सरपंच होगा, they will play very important role. Local craft, local handicraft, local cuisine, local dances, local music, local fabric, local cotton, local organic kheti. Everything is going to get so much a boost in the times to come. We all got to understand. Thank you very much, Dr. T. Venkata Ramana ji. Thank you very much for your kind gesture. Mamta Chauhan, thank you. Info students, thank you. Sakshi, thank you. Rakesh, thank you. Personal sanitation and hygiene are going to get the big priority. Hand hygiene, आपके कपड़ों का laundry hygiene, respiratory hygiene, food hygiene, pet hygiene, and nappy hygiene, toilet hygiene, and your personal clothing. Everything is going to be, you've got to be very, very careful for everything. Life is going to be altogether different order. Restaurants have to introduce more local cuisine, local source, and fresh food. In Ayurveda, it is conveyed, do not eat anything from fridge. Do not take more cold things. Whatever is cooked in the last 3 hours is only good for your body as per Ayurveda. पिछले 3 घंटे में जो भोजन बना है वही आपके लिए अच्छा है. इस समय बीमार नहीं होना है. बाद में भी लोग तभी ट्रैवल करना चाहेंगे जब उनको एश्योरेंस होगी, ट्रस्ट बिल्ड करना होगा. Air travel will become very, very expensive because when less people will travel, तो जो fuel की cost है वो तो कम नहीं होगी. जो pilot है, co-pilot है, बाकी लोग हैं, facilitators हैं. So you got to think about so many things. Airport will be less crowded. जो airports हैं उसके ऊपर there will be less people traveling. Luxury hotels, you would not like to go to front office. You would say, no. Let me check in from my mobile only. Let me get to my room directly from my mobile. Let me settle my bill from my mobile only. Let me place an order for the food. And please don't come inside my room. Just keep my food outside my room and I'll take it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, India known for its Ayurveda and wellness practices. Medical tourism, wellness tourism, spiritual tourism, yoga tourism, herbal tourism, that is going to increase quite a bit because people are interested to live healthy, happily, and they would like to enjoy. So thereby, there'll be increased interest in countries' ancient wellness therapies. Whatsoever you can think of, the time has come. From our chamber, we wish to offer all our brothers and sisters, all our travel agents, tour operators, tourist transporters, travel facilitators, anybody who is with the tourism. Our more specialization is towards tourism, but at the same time, we will also take help of the hospitality sector, airline sector, ancillary sectors, and we wish to give free of cost to all of you.
After Marshall, he shifted his chronology forward in time from 2500 to 1500 BCE to make it conveniently possible for invading. He also identified Harappan cities.
So, ladies and gentlemen, ICSI is starting a special series to help all youth, all students, all teachers, all corporate, all research scholars, and others with the free online training skills and hand-holding. No money to be paid. It will be given free of cost. It will be offered from our chamber. And we would like to invite more and more people. Soon we will tell you what exactly we have got for you. We are carrying out a research. We are carrying out a work on it. We will soon come on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me share also with you. NRIs can help. Please, Vivekshankar ji, just give me 1 minute. Please. Now, NRIs can help ICSI in carrying out research in the service industry with a focus on tourism as well as wellness industry growth post-COVID in India. Now, with these words, I just wish to share with all of you, there's a second last slide, that tomorrow, there's something very important we are going to share with all of you in our series. Tomorrow will be the 25th program for vocational teachers. For skills, we are doing complementary. Tomorrow, we will be talking about communication to connecting. And tomorrow, we will be having 933rd program of ours. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. With these words, I extend a very warm welcome to Professor Satyanarayana ji, who had been very kind to be with us and to give us a patient hearing, because I wanted to give him a roadmap so that he understands what basically we want in research to be done for the industry, not only for the students. Our stake is very high. 4 crore people have been impacted, affected. Professor Vivekshankar Natarajan ji, all yours. I would request you to kindly take on the floor, please.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Gulshan ji and Dr. Satya ji. As you can see, this is a very interesting time, because as they say, when winter comes, can spring be far away? And with Schumpeter, a great economist, talks about creative destruction. So whenever there is a lot of turmoil and all that, there is also an opportunity to renew growth. And so we are just focusing, post-pandemic, how can the economy grow? How can the jobs be created? How can we feed the new entrepreneurship by understanding the trends in consumer behavior? And Dr. Gulshan Sharma very explicitly articulated some of the trends that might be more apparent in post-COVID world, and that opens up a plethora of opportunities. But to jump into opportunities without, it's like sometimes, you want to jump into the river, you better gauge the depth of the river. And that is where research is important. Research helps you to understand the risks and quantify the risks. So, and that's why when I spoke to Dr. Sharma, I said we need to create some open series on research, talk about these topics, and then talk about some research tools, and then invite research scholars to submit some proposals, which we will work with them. And once the research is accomplished in 3 months, 6 months, we can start doing presentations. To that end, I have been very fortunate to bring on board my colleague and a very good friend, a super research methods guru, Dr. Parayitam, Satya Parayitam. He has been on this program. Today, I wanted to give an overview of what we are thinking of. And in the next 1 month, or about 4 or 5 weeks, we will be going into different areas of research, literature review, secondary data, primary data, data analysis, presenting results. So we will come up with several themes. That will be very standard research presentation. But more than that, our goal is to encourage these young scholars who want some guidance to apply to our research projects and we will work with Dr. Sharma to create a portal through which they can submit proposals, and then based on the proposals, we'll help them to get that from concept to a paper or a manuscript or a white paper stage. So Professor Parayitam is here. He's going to give a talk briefly about Professor Parayitam. Are you there?
He's there.
I am here, but
So I know Dr. Parayitam. Yeah, so he's already. Yeah, so one thing, Professor Parayitam, in the next 4 or 5 weeks, our goal should be to talk about research as a process. So how would you go about doing it? Why don't you give an overview? And Dr. Parayitam already has 80 slides, and they are all very, very heavy eating slides. So we'll take at least 4 or 5 weeks to digest it. It is like chavanprash. You can eat only 2 spoons of chavanprash in a day. It is not like bel puri or pani puri where you can consume 2-3 plates in a day. It's all homeopathic doses. So please give us an overview of what you want to present in the next 4 or 5 weeks. And I know I'm putting you on a spot, but Dr. Parayitam is a researcher par excellence, so he can tell you exactly. So please tell us in the next 10-15 minutes about how we should be structuring the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Namaste, sir. It's very tough question. What initially I thought was to have the presentation about the service industry as a whole, various components of service industry, like education, health, tourism, transportation, right? And all these hospitality. So after giving an overview of all these, then I wanted to go to specific areas of research. And research, whether it is the tourism research or research in hospitality or research in consumer behavior. During the post-COVID pandemic, there is a paradigmatic change in the consumer behavior. So you can focus on marketing aspects. You can focus on the stock market reactions because of COVID. You also can talk about the human resource management policies, how the organizations are engaging in turnaround strategies. So all these, I wanted to have a picture of all these. And it requires time. And since today, Dr. Gulshan Sharmaji has given a wonderful, elaborate picture of entire tourism industry, how many people have been affected, more than 5 crores people, and so many people lost their jobs, and what the government has to do for this. You know, there is something like a stimulus package in America. I don't know whether that kind of package is existing in India or not. Right? Stimulus packages, you know, that is some help from the government should be there, both from the state governments and central governments, to take care of the people who lost jobs. For example, if the companies go bankrupt, right? What the government gives some subsidies, and then they come to the rescue. When the civil aviation industry was in doldrums, governments used to come and then give some subsidy and take rescue. They give some kind of a funding and money and so on. Similarly, when the governments do for the organizations, why then they don't do for the individuals? There are so many people, you know, laborers, they're out of jobs. So many people engaging in the hotel industry, they're out of jobs. Transport industry out of jobs, right? And even those people who are in jobs also, pay has been cut. Salaries have been cut by 50% or 25% and so on. So most important, there are two aspects here. When you talk of research, researchers can only tell that these are the problems, these are the issues, these are the recommendations. And we just recommend, that's all. Implementation should come from government. Implementation should come from the business people, rich people, philanthropies, right? There are some individuals, right, you know, that they give, okay, for this, I'm going to give for 80,000 people food like this. Individuals who are rich, you know, they can give. So one problem is that how to revamp, how to rejuvenate, as you rightly mentioned, sir, Dr. Gulshanji, how to rejuvenate the industry, how to bring it back to normalcy. That is from the implementation point of view. As researchers, what we do, what is the effect of post-COVID, that is COVID-19 or post-COVID period or post-pandemic period, how the research is going to go ahead and so on. So that will be my focus of presentation. I think we'll start from next week, sir, because time is running out. It's already 9 o'clock for everybody. It's dinner time for everybody. And already they must exhaust your wonderful lecture, you know, and so you touched upon many points, practical points.
No, actually, Satyaji, just to not to interrupt, but just to add to what you said, is what Gulshanji has done. We will probably take that and dovetail it with your presentation so that we can link it organically. And the next, maybe till first week of July, do you think we can do about 4 to 5 presentations and on these topics, like 40 minutes maximum?
Yeah, but you see, my plan is like that. If I take up, for example, from the researcher's point of view, today actually, I gave a message to so many people from South India, like Dr. Vasanti Mahadev, isn't it? So she gave a message to you, right? They're all waiting for my presentation about research, and because there are so many researchers, you know, waiting, you know, for how to conduct research in these areas, like Professor Francis Granasekar, Dr. Rajesh, Professor Vasanti and Maheshwari. They are from Holy Cross College and St. Joseph College from Professor Francis, and then Rajesh from Bishop Heber College in Tiruchirappalli, and Dr. Felicita Davis and Manoj Brito from St. Joseph, right? Father Alex from Kadalur, Dr. Krishna Kumar. They're all researchers, you know, waiting to see what kind of research we have to do in the post-pandemic period. I identified so many areas of research. What I will do next Sunday when we start presentation, straight away introduce me to this, of course, after your introduction of the ICSI, and then we spend solid 1 hour time in doing different areas of research. And then following week, we proceed how to do it. It's not simply we say this has to be done, how this is to be done. I'll explain the process of doing research. And my talks generally are helpful only to the researchers. Sir, first of all, let me confess that my knowledge is very, very limited. I don't know much about anything. Whatever little I know, I will try to impart among the other scholars. Next week, next Sunday, we will have the presentation because already it's 9 o'clock. If I start now, you cannot break between after 15 minutes, people get hungry and they can, if you are hungry, then you get angry, right? Both are together. So let's continue our talk. I think next week, I think Gulshanji will agree with my suggestion to continue from next Sunday. Then we will proceed from there. I'll explain. Actually, today I can show some slides, but I don't want to cut short, and then go from there.
My only humble request, because today some of the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India officials, some of the State Tourism Department officials, and some of the travel trade and tour operation and other association heads, they were watching this program and they told we need Professor Dr. Satyanarayanji's vision, direction, and help in future. What exactly should we do? So I just wanted to give you the complete package so that I put it the perspective before you that this is what is the thought process going on. And this is what basically the predictions which are coming through. So that was the reason. And our chamber is on total service industry. I would make a humble submission that taking your advice, worthy advice, that sectors which you have told, education, health, tourism, transportation, hospitality, consumer behavior, focus on marketing, HR policies, turnaround strategies. I have noted down like a good student all the points. Now, I do not want we should be deprived. Humanity should be deprived. Maybe you can just briefly touch upon 5-10 minutes today, something. So maybe a little teaser you can give or some homework you can give to us as a student. And next Sunday when we come, we should be prepared. Next Sunday when we come, we will be prepared.
Oh, I will. Can I share my screen?
Please, all yours. Even if you give us a teaser today, I would be very happy. And kindly keep 2 minutes for your mouth organ also.
Oh, that will make it next week, sir.
Okay. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I must share with you the musical part of tourism. He is very good at mouth organ. Those of you, if you watch his, kindly trace him with his name on the YouTube. You can see him different beautiful songs which he's playing, and that to Hindi songs. I mean, I was quite pleasantly surprised. Thank you. Please go ahead.
So this is, I just wanted to show some basic idea of what I'm going to do. This is service industry post-pandemic research organized by International Chamber of Service Industry and presentation by myself, Parayitam, professor from in the Department of Management and Marketing, Charlton College of Business, University of Massachusetts. So special thanks to Dr. Gulshanji and Dr. Vivek Natarajan, to all the listeners. And any questions can contact me at the email. And service industry, this is what I am just trying to give the components and various areas of research. The first component is health. So this is, even now you can see in the post, during the pandemic period also, there is heavy demand for the frontline workers. Heavy demand. This is the first important component. Next, education. We are all education area, right? So education is another important component of service industry. Banking and insurance. Then transport, storage, communication. And trade, hotels, and tourism. So these are all these areas where we need to focus research. Now, what we say service activity? What are the service activities? Let me go back to the fundamentals. As I told you, I'm a layman. I don't know much about this. So let me start with fundamentals. Service activities can be categorized into physical, intellectual, aesthetic, and experiential. So physical means working with objects. Examples, repairing two-wheelers, hairdressing, landscaping, preparing food for the customers in hotels. These are all physical activities. Then intellectual, education, training, universities, colleges, all training institutions, all these come under category of intellectual service. We provide intellectual currency among the students. We distribute it. And then aesthetic activities, providing customers with visual experiences, just like movies, Bollywood industry, Hollywood industry, it's all service industry, art shows, museums, musical performances, aesthetic, and finally experiential. So these activities such as zoological parks, amusement parks, we visit so many entertainment centers, these come under experiential category. So when we say service, it's a very broad term consisting of all these activities. It may be physical, it may be intellectual, maybe aesthetic, it may be experiential. We should have the broad categorization of what is the meaning of service. Now, what is the concept of service? Service means here, it transforms a physical product and gives a conveniently good shape. For example, repairing a car, providing education to students. Student is a customer, he's a consumer who joins university as a raw product. When he comes out, see the raw product, material process, input, process, output. The processing is being done in the universities. We educate them, we provide course content, we educate them in various areas, functional areas, physics, chemistry, botany, zoology, and all these. Then when it comes out a finished product. So we were transforming physical product from one, that is raw material, to the final finished product. So student becomes a responsible citizen. You can say that is it not that when he joins university, he is not a responsible citizen? He is no doubt, but he will become a good citizen. Now, examples, when a room is renovated or remodeled, or when a financial consultant determines about the portfolio, how I can have financial planning, right? You will have different portfolios depending on the age of the people, right? A 25-year man, he goes, okay, this is a portfolio. 60, portfolio. 45, this is the portfolio. You will have different portfolios of finance about the future earnings and all this, depending on the customers. That is service. In a railway ticketing agent or the facilitator, as if I follow Dr. Gulshan Sarmaji's terminology, the facilitator, right? Not agent. So railway ticketing facilitator, she delivers the ticket to the passenger, it's service. So when a consultant gives suggestion to the organization to bring radical change, it is service. Sometime back in 90s, I think IBM has suffered $5 billion loss. Then consultant came and said, you restructure the company. Then he gave suggestion. Within 1 year, they made $6 billion profit because they restructured the entire IBM organization. They converted from functional to the organic structure based on the teams. That is service. So whether you change the individual or the material or the organization, that is called service. Other than anything, manufacturing is different, but service, and most of the times what happens in every economy, service contributes more than 2/3 of the gross domestic product. That is the importance of service industry. In general, in almost all the countries, you see service industry is great because it contributes more than 2/3 of the gross domestic product. That tells about the importance of service. So at the individual level and organization level, service is provided. Now, this last slide I will just give, and then we can discuss. Demand patterns changes in service industry. You explained, I think Dr. Gulshanji explained at different intervals about this. Let us recapitulate. Demand in service industry is cyclical. In some cycles, the demand is more. In some cycles, demand is less. For example, in tourism, demand is more during summer. Pilgrimage is more in summer. Vacation time, more summer. Even railways also, they run special trains during summer, right? And so demand is less in some. For doctors, let us say, during rainy season, demand is more, right? Because waterborne diseases, they come. When I was talking to one of the doctors in Delhi, he said, sir, between June, July, and August, these 3 months, we make that much amount of money, rest of the 9 months, we don't have to work. Because so many waterborne diseases are there because of heavy rains and blocking of the water and so on, because of poor sanitary conditions. So the demand is cyclical then. And also during winter season, demand is the flu season, there's increasing demand for doctors. And recession may also cause a downward trend in the demand for services, especially in some sectors. But you know, demand in some sectors is not affected by any seasons. For example, banking and insurance. You don't go for vacation in summer, right? Banking, they have to continue. Some railways, they have to continue. There is demand is increasing in some sectors more. And it is not affected by seasons. Research is not affected by seasons. Pandemic, that is the global pandemic, has affected education institutions, everything, but not research. You know, for the I'm not boasting about myself because I told in the beginning my knowledge is very, very limited. Every year I have only 2 or 3 publications. Last year, for the first time, I had 8 research papers published. So it means what there's an opportunity for doing research because post-pandemic, there's nothing to do. I have only 3-point agenda: eating, sleeping, doing research, nothing else. So there is demand is not affected in some areas. Effect of COVID-19 on service industry. It has increased demand for frontline workers, demand for essential sector, day-to-day goods and services. You have to make them available, right? And decreased demand is civil aviation. This is where, you know, you touch mostly upon the transportation, civil aviation, tourism, and all these things, right? Social distancing has put a complete halt in operations of some sectors. Definitely, because people now, I'm going to go over some strong research pieces next week. I don't want to put so much information today. So increasing demand for IT sector, right? Nature of work has undergone radical change from office to work and work from home. From office, that is means you're trying to work in the office, but now you have to work from home. So the total concept of work has undergone change. How to deal with this? These are the challenges. And major research areas, we can select various topics in fields: marketing, human resource management, tourism, hotel management, transport, turnaround strategies, etc., etc. And some of the areas in marketing, you can see online buying behavior, impulse buying, impact of social networks, social media, and consumer behavior. These are all various research. I want to bring some more facts later. Social distancing versus emotional distancing. Increasing distances between people and reducing attachment because of social distancing. This also has resulted in reduced attachment. You know, social distancing, we always talk to each other through phones and through WhatsApp. The attachment is really lacking. I cannot go to my friend's house, have a cup of tea or coffee. And same thing, reverse is the case. You know, these are the potential problems. And cyber security. And there are positives and negatives of digital payments. You know, yesterday I saw in the news that the customer database of Air India has been stolen. Last 10 years database has been stolen. So these are the problems, potential problems, you know. So you can do research on cyber security. And other major research areas: human resource management, impact of work from home on job satisfaction, performance, productivity, teamwork, coordination. You also can see the employee turnover. Poor laborers, you know, working as a daily labor, right? They migrated labor. Where did they go? Or when all the construction in Hyderabad, in Andhra Pradesh, they stopped, in Telangana, stopped. All the migration workers, they had to go back to their homes in Bihar and other places. And they went by walking. There was no transportation and so many people died also. So much employment turnover and new employee training, the programs have to undergo. And even the faculty members have to undergo training for online teaching. So there are potential areas of research: change the recruitment and selection policies of organizations, and impact of COVID-19 on employee remuneration. We notice a downsizing, reduction in pay for employees, and we see there are the tourism this, I think my Professor Gulshanji is focusing on tourism and tourism sector, right, including medical tourism and effect of COVID-19 on people working in tourism sector and post-pandemic measures of bouncing back. Assuming pandemic is going to be over by January, continuing or over, then what strategies companies have to engage in the tourism to formulate and implement strategies to attract tourists from various countries? Because people get afraid, you know. Whenever I talk to my friends, say, well, did you go to India? No. Do you go to India? Even before the pandemic time, you know, oh, India, no. I thought, you know, we don't get clean water, we don't get clean air. We're afraid. No, don't worry. You will get. We came from there. There is a way, you know, that's what we tell them. And now with this situation, it's very, very difficult to attract people. And what are the strategies we have to have? We have to tell them, government has to tell foreigners, when you come, special treatment, especially with regard to water and other things, so the conditions, safety conditions, safe hotels, all zones, all these, and they take measures. What are the measures have to be taken? So these are all the things. So in innovations in tourism, there are several places, sir, in tourism, Dr. Gulshanji will agree with me, several places which are very important but not explored. Researchers can throw light on these. There is one old Shiva temple in Daksharamam in Andhra Pradesh, about 60 miles away from Rajamandri. One of the wonderful, I've seen so many temples in India. That is one of the best temples I've ever seen, Lord Shiva temple, Daksharamam, but not many visitors go there. Very oldest temple. And there is one Shaktipita is also there in Daksharamam. Not many visitors because people do not know. So government have to make these religious tourism and general tourism and all these places make aware of all these. And medical tourism is very popular in Kerala. So examples may include religious tourism, pleasure tourism, experiential tourism, backwater tourism. In fact, we have written one paper with Dr. Vasanthi and her student Maheshwari. We wrote a paper, research paper on backwater tourism in Kerala. That is houseboats, you know, houseboat tourism. We did a research paper. It's in the review now. So these are the major research areas: transportation, railroad, air transportation, challenges, and all these things. Effect of pandemic on employees and all these things. So I want to share examples later. If our time is running out today, we'll continue our presentation from next week, sir.
This example, sir, if you want to show, we can take it up, sir.
Okay. These examples.
Uttarayana, Dakshinayana, which is the solstice points. This keeps.
Okay, examples actually, our backwater paper on tourism. I just wanted to show, because normally people think, you're saying so many things, what are you doing? They may say, right? So as I confess, sir, because I didn't work much on these areas, but just wanted to show you one paper with Dr. Vasanthi, and it will just come up and see, we have a small model. We developed a model on this, and it's under review now. I'll just show an example how the researchers can continue. See, this is about relationship between attraction, opportunities, and tourist satisfaction in backwater tourism in Alpuza district of Kerala in India. So in this paper, what we did, I go to the model, empirical analysis, all these things I can show you. But most importantly, what is the model we focused on? The statistical details apart. This is a model. So briefly, see, customers, passengers, the tourist satisfaction is the dependent variable. Place of attraction, what are the opportunities, what are the problems, what is the perception of service, what is the awareness. Relationship between these variables we studied with regard to backwater tourism. And what we found is that this is a three-way interaction, two-way interaction. I think some of the researchers who are aware of these mediation, moderation models, they can understand. I will explain all these things when we come to the research tools and other things. And this is how we know moderation of effects of attraction, awareness, and perception of service and satisfaction. When the perception of service is like this, high and low and medium, awareness is high, low, medium, when perception of service is low, you can see that downward trend, that when even if attraction is more, people are not satisfied because low perception of service. The service is not good, then they will not be satisfied. So this is what we are trying to say. If the perception of service is very high, then satisfaction is very high. So we focus on service. When the tourists come here, you have to focus more on service, and you have to make them available, make them aware of the service. So this is what is available, sir. We try to serve you. Then this is the empirical study. We collected data from the tourists there in the backwater, that is in Kerala, Albuja district of Kerala. Then we conducted empirical research, and these are the results. All these, I don't want to go back into all these numbers, Hayes process, macro process analysis and all that. It's an example. I just wanted to show an example as to how the research is progressing. And one more example, I say, on railways. I think I'm taking more time also. I just complete in 2 minutes. And
please take your time, sir. Please take your time.
Yeah, this is a paper on railways. Gender as a moderator in the relationship between service quality dimensions and passenger satisfaction. Service quality is very famous for the Parashurama's measure we use, and it has been used by about 25-30 years by several researchers. We use the same measure. This is also the paper from Dr. Vasanthi and Lady Joseph, I think. Then what we did is that here, gender plays a major role here. Women and men differ in their perceptions about the service. So wonderful analysis what we did. I am just going to show only the model. Why I'm showing is that researchers who are interested in doing research, they have to learn the model building and then conducting research. So there are all the dimensions of service quality: tangibility, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy, also obstacles, and passenger satisfaction. And gender, how does it moderate? We explain, and we can see the figures, gender differences like this. How the males and females differ. If the tangibility is increasing, it is initially the women are very happy. When more tangibles are there, then males are very happy. So there is a differences in the passenger satisfaction with regard to tangibility, and also with regard to reliability. Reliability in the beginning, of all females, oh, they're fine, they're reliable. Later on, when the reliability is increasing from low to high, then males are very satisfied than females. So these are the general, you can say, simple examples of how we do research and come to the conclusion that, we have to satisfy both males and females in equal way, but they differ. Why they differ? What are the reasons? What we can do further? So this is what we suggest to the people, that this is what is to be done and so on. And I'll give one more example. And in the finance area, okay, in the finance area, there is one researcher, Dr. Rajesh and Professor Francis Ransekar from Tiruchirappalli. They are from, Rajesh is from Bishop Heber College, and Francis is from St. Joseph College. So they tested the market efficiency in the stock market right from 2011 to 2021, including the pandemic period. What is how the stock market is responding, and what is market efficiency? This is a efficient market hypothesis of Lamar. They checked. Means even during the pandemic, how it is reacting. So what is the best day to trade? What is and so on. Evidence from this. These are small pieces of research in finance area and all these areas people can do. So how the market is responding, during the pandemic period also. Some of the examples we wanted to show. And you can say, sir, all these papers are under review, right? What about, you have any published papers? I think I have one small paper I just wanted to show, because unless we show some publications, people won't believe, right? We have to see. I am, sir, with folded hands, say that I'm not a very, my knowledge is very, very limited. I'm not strong in all these areas. My area of in this very limited, this paper from Syed Atkar Shah is also professor in Jamal Muhammad College in Trichy, and he's a PhD student was Vignesh. And then myself and we worked on higher education institutions in India. This paper is about on education, effect of knowledge sharing and interpersonal trust and all these. Well, here also we developed a model. I just wanted to, this just came out 2 days back, sir. This paper just came out.
Wonderful,
and
sir. Wonderful, wonderful.
Just came 2 days back, you know, knowledge sharing, emotional intelligence, psychological capital, trust, how they lead to organizational excellence. And gender is a moderator here. This is what a piece of research what we did in higher education institutions. And I just wanted to show graphs. Did I have them before? The moderation graphs I wanted to show. This is, see, we want to show the essence, you know, all the statistical details I skipped, how the knowledge sharing and psychological capital are related, gender-wise differences, all these we explained here in this paper, how the males are different and females are different in this. And there are so many ways in which we explain. So these are some of the areas where I wanted to show. I just showed, you know, as an example, my research paper published. Otherwise, you know, papers which are in the process, you know, they think, okay. So just an example. So then what I will do, sir, I'll focus more next week from here. I'll talk about various journals to be considered and what exactly, we just go a little in depth from next week. Going deep into next week. Also, I will provide an opportunity to do how the researchers can proceed to develop the models, especially in tourism and hospitality industry, and how we have to collect data and what measures we can suggest to the government for bringing back, you know, the tourism industry back to normalcy. I think I would stop here. I don't want to continue. This is just a synopsis of what I wanted to present.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you. I would say in such a short, crisp, you know, you have given the nice packaging to all of us so that we can get the basic insight. And from next week, we take on. Today, in fact, you know, I had briefed Professor Vivekshankar Natarajan ji well in advance that today I would be showcasing the tourism industry profile to Professor Satyanarayana ji. And from there, we would like to tell him how do we proceed, how do we go by, because the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, the State Tourism Department, and the entire industry at present is really, I do not know, because I'm not finding the appropriate word. Nobody knows how long the corona will be there. Nobody knows when the third wave would be there. Nobody knows when it's going to get over. And tourism is a peace activity. Tourism is basically an activity when everything is calm, peaceful, nice, because most important thing is going to be build the trust. To trust, you know, because people are going to be so conscious. And today, by these slides, by means of these slides, you have taken me to my memory lane way back to early 80s when I did the whole research and I drafted the whole tourism policy for Kerala. And I traveled from Ponmudi to Thiruvananthapuram to Varkala to Alapi to Koilan to Vaipan to Trichur to Mullampura Dam to Kottayam to Thekkady to Idukki to Periyar to Shabramali. And that is the time I had traveled because it was basically the complete packaging of tourism, and cinematic tourism was one of the areas which we wanted. And there was a Hindi movie called Dil Se that was shot in backwaters, and Priti Zinta was introduced for the first time into the Bollywood. So there is a lot to pick up and lot to learn and lot to share. And wellness also, you talked about health sector, you gave the priority. I think we got the glimpses today, and that something is wonderful. And we are looking forward to get your most valuable guidance and to proceed further. Sir, if you can close this, then I can come face to face with you on the screen.
Yeah. So, yeah, I will close it 1 second.
several millions
Okay.
before one
Yeah.
they have significant.
Yeah, sir. I just wanted to add one small
numbers
thing.
are concerned.
Vivek, I just wanted to add one thing.
Please,
That-
please.
There are some professors from St. Joseph's College in Kadalur, Professor Father Alex and Dr. Krishna Kumar. They are also very active in research. And also in Pondicherry University, also there is Professor Motilal and then Ramani Lata. They are excellent in research and all these. All these people, they are having research orientation and they have their own students and PhD students and scholars. They are very much interested in pursuing research, especially in service industry, and they wanted to know what are the ways and means of proceeding further, what to do, what not to do, how to do. They need some guidance. But I told them really that they contacted me. I said, no, I'm sorry. My knowledge is very, very limited. I'm not expert in these. And whatever little I know, I will try to tell. Really, I don't know anything about all these areas, but we try to do whatever little we know. That's what I told. And they have been doing good, like Dr. Felicita Davis and Manoj Bitto got one paper published 2 days back, I think. They are from St. Joseph College in these areas, in the area of in service industry only. And they're doing, I am seeing a lot of research going on in these areas, and I'm pretty happy that, the young scholars are coming up. And I hope their research will be useful to the International Chamber of Service Industry also. We try to summarize all these results to you, and we can see that this is what we are doing in service industry. These are the results. These are suggestions we can go to give to the government for implementation. See, for me, sir, research is not just doing PhD and getting paper published. It should be useful. It should have some application. Without application, what is use of that? So that is what my idea. And with that, I'm grateful to you for giving me an opportunity of briefly touching upon what I am going to do and so on. Thank you very much, sir. And thanks, Vivek, and thank you, sir.
I'm
Yes.
so grateful to you. I become more humble once again. And when you are taking me to my memory lane, when I think about Kerala, I also set up KITS, Kerala Institute of Travel and Tourism Studies in Thiruvananthapuram while being with the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Puducherry Vice Chancellor is closely working with us. There are a couple of things which we can do, because Port Blair institutes, they all come Andaman Nicobar under Puducherry University. So one of the student is the principal, at present a director in Port Blair for the Tourism and Hospitality Institute. There is so much which we can do. Then in Bhubaneswar, we set up IITTM. So God had been extra kind. Last 4 decades, exclusively on services sector, we have dedicated, devoted. We would be more than happy. And on behalf of my chamber, I'm grateful to all the scholars, all the professors, all the teachers, all the dignitaries, those who have joined this program today, whose names have been mentioned by Professor Satyanarayana. I'm grateful to all of them. And yes, we all can do a great service. The only thing is, I have got one agenda: no money to be taken from anybody. No money to be taken. All the programs to be offered free of cost, because now the time is, everybody is passing through difficulties. I have no answer to tell those kids, those have completed their hospitality management last year, and those are completing hospitality management now. They got to diversify. They got to get into some other areas. They had dreams. They had passion. They had a vision. Their family had spent a lot of money on them. So thereby, education is incomplete without skills, and education and skills are incomplete if you do not get a right job or if you do not become a right entrepreneur. Every parent today is looking forward to, in your research, sir, one of the paper I would also request, we got to bring on every week, earn and learn. Earn and learn. The concept what you have got abroad, over here parents are overprotective. You keep studying, don't worry, I will pay for you. You go to college, you score 98% marks. We want to remove the myth after this pandemic gets over. Getting percentage, getting marks, taking particular subject is no criteria in life. You got to become useful to society, to community, to civilization, and to humanity if you're studying. Please, sir. You wanted to say something, sir.
Oh, no, nothing. Actually, in India, we have the concept of learn and then earn.
Sir,
First learn is to go for as long as they take the students, sir. They don't earn, they learn first and then they start earning. But here, earn and learn, because students also they have to earn while learning. They have to pay their tuition fees themselves. But in India, my father pays, my brother pays, somebody pays.
We got to bring a change in that, sir. We got to bring a change in that, sir. We should not pressurize our parents anymore. Some of the parents are so humble, they're taking loan. Sir, I do not want to mention in this webinar, just read the statistics of yours. Anybody who has done any financial study for the last 15 months, do you know, sir, how much money in crores have been taken as a withdrawal of the provident fund by the parents for making two ends meet? It is not, I do not want to quote the figures at this point of time. It's not correct on my part, sir. And all of us, we got to get together that let's share the knowledge. Let's share the potential, whatsoever we have got for the human survival. Development will come later. Now is the survival. That is something very important. I lost a lot of family members. A lot of my family members are struggling at this point of time, and they are in different stages of this. And I know, sir, what it is losing your family members, losing your kith and kin, and what all is happening. So thereby, we will come forward. I had taken the consent. I informed Professor Vivekshankar Natarajan ji well in advance that today I'm going to showcase about tourism. I want to talk about tourism so that Professor Saab knows what exactly is the requirement of India at this point of time. That was very important. That's why I took so much of time. Now let's do the closing remarks, sir. Vivekshankar ji, your other Professor Vivekshankar. Thank you, Professor Satyanarayana ji. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Let's close the session now with Professor Vivekshankar ji. Any prayer from your side you would like to, or any closing remarks?
So just to kind of one closing thing, in research, we talk about two things. Research has both rigor and relevance. So you, Professor Gulshan ji, in a wonderful way, you have given the relevance. What are the topics that are hot issues today, that are pressing issues today? You have given us what is called as in marketing research, the managerial dilemmas. What are some pressing challenges of today's need? And you have laid that out very explicitly. And I know Satya ji also has given in a nutshell what he wants to do in the next 4 or 5 weeks. I think this session was a little deliberate that, each of you were talking about two different things, but there is a good convergence. And now we know exactly where we are going. We have an idea of the topics. And to understand these topics, we need tools. And that's where Satya ji will come in. And I will also facilitate these tools. And we have a critical mass in terms of scholars who want to work with us. So the next will also be to come up with a mechanism to identify the skills of these scholars, their interests, and make sure we meaningfully put them into some training, not training projects, so that we can all make progress. I think we will be taking that up in subsequent weeks. And hopefully by early July, which is the monsoon season, we should start seeding our research topics and research projects. So are we on board with that, Dr. Sharma?
I would go as per the advice of Honorable Professor Dr. Satyanarayana ji and Professor Vivekshankar Natarajan.
मैं तो सूत्रधार नहीं हूँ, मैं तो ऐसे ही हूँ. सत्या जी, आप क्या बताएं? सत्या means truth. So tell us the truth, nothing but the truth.
The truth is never found. We have to search for the truth. That is research. Research is all searching for the truth. We are all researchers are like, the four blind people describing the elephant. So research is like that. Yeah,
that is true. So, but it's good. It is still better. As they say, it is better to be approximately right than absolutely wrong. And research helps us to get into that approximation. And as they say, it is better to, before we jump, it is better to measure the size of the river. So that is what research allows us to approximate. And as we keep doing more and more, we get the wisdom and knowledge and wisdom, and we become more mature and more things. So it is a good project, Professor Satyaji, and I'll talk to you offline again. Thank you again. Your passion, your enthusiasm to work with all of the researchers, especially in India, is wonderful. This is one way we can bring our home country back into research prominence. And I'm very grateful to Gulshan ji. I know amidst his personal challenges, he has given us the time and space. He believes in us. And I think, it's easy for him to believe in you because you have a very good record. I'm a guy who sometimes, and I'm into multiple projects, but Gulshan ji has been very patient with me. He understands my issues. Even today, I've been multitasking between 2 webinars, both of which I could not get out of. And he has been very patient. So Gulshan ji, we will take this forward and move more into research in the next 4 or 5 weeks. Thank you.
He has got something to say. Yeah.
See, I just wanted to tell only one thing. In India, we have wonderful researchers. And they do wonderful job of collecting data. There is a passion for research. What is missing is a direction. That is what we're trying to provide. That's what when I evaluate my PhD students, the thesis of the students from various universities, so I give them suggestions for improvement so that we can come to they're not very poor researchers. They do very well. I have seen there's the potential. The potential need to be explored, exploited, and it has to come to the limelight. That is what I was trying to focus on, encouraging students, to do research, and this is the way, this is not the way like this, so that they can come to. And thank you very much, Gulshan ji, for giving an opportunity. And so nice of you, all the professors and doctoral students from Tamil Nadu and all the various areas, they convey special regards to you for conducting this, so that it also helps them and you and us in all possible ways.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable time. And all my brothers and sisters, those have joined from Tamil Nadu, from Telangana, from Kerala, from southern part of India, other parts of India, wherever you are and world over, may we humbly request you and extend you a very warm welcome next week, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, next Sunday. Professor Dr. Satyanarayana will be with us, and he will take on. We will follow your direction. Whatever you tell us, our chamber will follow that. And request only from the industry and the government has come that tourism somewhere has to be taken care of. So we will look into that, because different people have been given different tasks, and we have been given to tourism, hospitality and aviation, this area, and this spills over to all the areas. This goes to shopping also, everything and all that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Namaskaram. Namaskaram.